Hey, Jasmine, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
Good to see you. So this is the first time I've seen you here. Have you watched any of our videos?
I haven't. I did some of the awakening curriculum and it was in the Discord channel that they recommended your Zooms. And so I haven't had a chance to watch any of the recordings, but I was just kind of curious. I live in a very different time zone. I'm in Hawaii, so it's 8 o'clock at night here. I know your
Right.
guys are on Wednesday afternoon, but yeah, so I was like, well, before I go to bed, I'll hop on and kind of see what it's like or check it out.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Yeah. So if you haven't watched anything, you probably don't know what goes on, but essentially it's a really relaxed, informal, no rules, come early, come late, leave early, leave late, doesn't matter. Don't ask for permission to speak. If somebody says something you feel inclined to comment on or whatever, just jump in. If we talk over each other, that happens sometimes, but it always sorts itself out. So yeah, we seem to just explore stuff that comes up for us. That's really what seems to happen. What happens besides all of that, is stuff you'll discover yourself. But essentially, everybody here seems to be pretty spontaneous and authentic about what they say. So there's a great sense of connection, and for me, it feels like home, feels like family. It's kind of good. Yeah. Mm.
Very nice. Thank you.
So what I'll do generally is ask somebody how they're going, if they've got anything that's come up for them, or if they've been triggered recently. That's a good thing to talk about. Um, or we'll just be silent. And if we're just silent, then that's a great opportunity to watch what the mind does. It tends to want to fill silences with activity. So there's good things happen there as well. Yeah, just enjoy.
Thank you.
So Anton, tell us how you've been. Anton's here for the first time last meeting. Uh,
Yeah,
he's back, which means we must be doing something right.
uh, well, I'm on a holiday now. I have a 1 week off, so I'm going a lot to the sea and
Yep.
resting a lot.
It's
Meditate.
summertime where you are?
Yeah, it's the beginning of the summer. Yeah.
Right, good. Yeah.
Yes, I had a good feeling after the last meeting, so I thought that it would be nice to join once again. And,
Good feelings are attractive, aren't they? Mm.
and
Any idea
now,
why you were feeling good? Did it come to you that there was a reason for it?
the whole day was quite full and rich. After that I met my girlfriend after we did not speak for a couple weeks. Like we had a separation for some time, so it was a rich day.
Great.
So
Mm.
it's hard to say
Of
what
course.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, but for the last couple days, when it's the sensation that I am a bit struggling sometimes to just let it stay as it is in my throat. It's a strong contraction, and it's I think it is connected to a lot of stuff, and one thing is that the energy tends to go up to the head in order, and it's like a habit, like I'm willing to feel all the feelings that I have here, but the system is still used to go up in order to not feel it. So it's a habit that I'm working on, not really to rearrange in the system, but when it's here and the throat is like locking it here. It's like a contraction here, and so unpleasant sensation, and sometimes there is reactivity to it.
Yep, yep, get that. And it sounds absolutely perfectly logical that that's where a blockage would be for you because of the stuttering.
Yes, it's one
Yeah.
of the, yes.
Mm. So interest in it, curiosity about it is definitely the right attitude to have. Just watch, see what reveals itself.
Yes, and it's interesting that I see that when I have a thought of choosing something, like me thought, it's always bring this sensation
Yep,
up.
yep, yep.
And for a long period of time, I was feeling that here and here, like I have two main spots where it felt like the me sitting there in the contraction. But
Okay, yeah.
after it, I started to recognize that it's not healthy connection. It's just a sensation, and a thought is just a thought.
Hmm.
So, and this idea, when I let it go, somehow there less identification.
Yep, yep, yep. So that's
So,
really interesting that you see those two spots of would you call it contraction?
yes,
That those where you have a sense of self, a me.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
it's
really interesting. Yeah.
activity. On the left side, it's all reactivity, and here it's a chooser. This is how it always I feel it like this.
Right, say that again. Here it's a chooser, did you say?
Yes, it's like
Okay, yeah. That's
I
even
have
more interesting. Yeah.
choosing something, it's also contracting here.
Yes, yeah.
When I have reactivity to something, it's always contraction here.
Okay. Yeah.
And
That's
it's
really
always there.
interesting. Yeah, yeah. What, so it's there when you wake up, or does it come after you wake up?
Yes, it's usually when I wake up, I feel the throat, and during the day, even if I'm in a silent state that everything is really calm, so it's not intense, but I know it's there.
Yeah.
It's always
Yeah.
there. But when a trigger comes, it's contracting.
It gets more intense. Yeah, and
Like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
shooting something, or there is situations that I have reactivity to, then it's here.
Okay, so I kind of think I might know the answer, but anyway, let me ask you this. How do you feel about those things?
Well, with years, I'm accepting it. I'm with the time, I'm feeling it more intensely,
Hmm.
but I'm less reacting to it.
Yep, yep, yep. Okay, good
Funny,
one. Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yes. But I don't like it.
Oh, of course, of course. So there's some part of you that says it'll be
I
better
would
if
like
it's
to
not there.
be
Yeah.
free of it, because
Mm.
without those sensations, it's all space. It's
Yes.
nothing else.
Yep.
This is how I
Okay.
feel.
Yep. Yep.
It's only space and those sensations. So
Right.
idea
So
is that if I'm free from it, it's only space.
yeah, yeah, I get that. So it's obviously a preference to be free from it. Yeah. So tell me, reassure me that you're not working to try and fix it.
Uh, I do kind of yoga meditations of expanding the sensations, and my body, it's sometimes I cry, it's sometimes it's like
Yep.
this, and
Yep.
I feel those sensations expanding but resisting to it. So I do work on it in a way, but it's not the time like striving for a goal
Yeah. Good.
with.
Good. Good. Yeah.
But I
That's what I
do
was wanting to hear. Yeah.
like, why
So
not?
yeah. So we'd
I
like
have,
to see it gone, but we're more
yes.
curious about what's going on than anything. That's the best possible way you can be open to inviting it to show or dissipate or whatever it's going to do. Yeah, great, great. Yeah. So you're not strengthening it by resisting it, by trying to force it.
Well, sometimes I
Yeah,
probably do. When it's intense, I probably do, but it's less and less.
great, great. Yeah,
With the
yeah,
time, yeah, in a way, it feels like it's less and less reactivity to it.
yeah. Sounds good. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I like what I hear. Yeah. How about you, Scott? How's things been for you? I want to hear movement.
um, pretty pretty stable. I haven't been triggered really that I can think of. Um,
Well, that's pretty good, isn't
I
it?
don't know. Maybe I have. Let's see. Oh, I realize I have aphantasia. Like I was I don't know. I was like I don't understand how these people they talking about the when you see a picture in your mind. I used to think like, oh yeah, I'm normal. I have, I see kind of see pictures in my mind. Like somebody says, look, think of something, I'll remember what it looks like. But like then I realized I can't really see a picture in my mind. I'm like, So I asked my girlfriend, I said, do you see like a picture in your, like, if you think about something, can you see a picture in your mind, like a photograph? And she said, yes, it looks just like a photograph. I'm like, holy crap. All this time, 68, 69 years, I've thought that like I was seeing images like other people did. It's funny. Inconsequential, but it was interesting.
It's an interesting one. It's a good one. I mean, I'm a bit like you. I don't see an image yet. If you ask me to imagine a red elephant, I can do it, but I can't see it as an image. I just know it's a red elephant. It's a
Yeah.
weird one. Yeah.
Even if I like, I look at, there's a fan over there, I look straight at the fan and I just close my eyes and I can remember the details of it for like a few seconds and it just kind of goes blank. But
But there's another thing. There's another aspect to that. Well, for me anyway, is that I can think of somebody's face, and although I can't see it, I know it.
right. So recognition.
Yeah.
That's
It's
what
a
it is. It
recognition
feels like
thing for sure.
recognition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we all
So
have different ways that our thoughts do their thing, isn't it? It's interesting, that one. Yeah. So, you're not quite alone in that weirdness. At least I belong to the same club at least.
I never really heard about it before until different groups and stuff. People talk about having aphantasia, and I just like never. I said, "Oh, I wonder what that is." Never realized. Then oh my god, everybody else sees these like brilliant like pictures in their mind. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy. I thought like an image to me was just like an after image, like kind of a shadowy thing. But like on the actual, I guess things that matter. Or do. I don't know if they do or not, but like the concept of doership has come up a lot. I say a lot, like I don't know why, but that's been in my mind. I see it in meetings and different things. And there's something I have this like, this is not the first time this has happened, but like I look at something like that and I look at it as like a separate item. Oh, doership. I guess I need to look at that. Like, because I still feel sometimes like I'm doing, you know? And anyway, so yesterday just tooling around. I'm like, you know what? Doership's just a thought, just like, you know, beliefs. Actually, I think doership you could like look at it like a belief that I'm doing something. You know what I mean? So
What if I said that it's a story you can adopt to describe something, and if you were talking to somebody who doesn't know about this stuff, you would use that story. You would say, yes, I did that. I picked that up and put it over there. Just a way of describing things. But what's your feeling about it? Do you feel like there was a little man inside your head pulling levers that made your hand grasp that and do the thing? Or did it just happen? So you said the
I know
concept of doership has come up. The concept of doership, right? So you're not telling me that you observed yourself feeling like you were a doer. You're telling me you thought about it. You had a story about it. Is that right? Is that accurate?
not sure.
So how did it
It
come up? In what way did it come to the front of your awareness?
Well, it came up as a concept, like a word, several times. Like maybe I don't really remember where I saw it. Like I think maybe once in a meeting, and maybe material that kind of came across. Like I'm not really looking at anything right now, so I don't remember where. Who knows? Maybe it just came up in my head. I'm not really sure,
Sure. Yeah,
but
that's it. Doesn't matter. Yeah.
it became a like an object of like, oh, here's something I haven't investigated yet. Only basically maybe once or twice in the beginning. Like, I'm not even sure if that's true, but yeah, I had as I look at it, I'm like, oh, it's a whole area that needs to be like looked into, even though I've already done it. Like when at LU, you basically, when you go through that, you look at it anyway, so like I'm thinking, I said, let me ask, the bot about it. So I had a really good session with the bot. Like I was wondering how resistance and efforting like related to doership, because in my old life that was really intense, like resistance, very intense. And uh see, I can tell my brain seems to blank out when I'm when I'm talking about this. I feel like I don't fully have it, but anyway,
What do you mean by have it? Fully,
it's either not cognitively completely like formed, or it's not, or it's percolating inside and I don't
right. So
fully,
it's not clear, is
it's
that
not
what you're
clear
saying?
yet. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I can't bring it up I can't communicate it too well because but I think like cognitive, like I think like how I kind of finished up yesterday was, and I don't know, for some reason I kind of stopped looking at it after the morning. But anyway, resistance and efforting are like just offshoots. They're results of this belief that you're doing, that I'm doing. And so it kind of like was kind of a little bit of a relief, like, oh yeah, all those two other things, they're just offshoots. So it's not you don't, it's not really a object of study, or what I'm saying.
Right,
I
okay,
don't.
yeah. Right, so I want to question the idea that you've ever been a doer. You've always explained yourself as, that you were a big doer, that was important. I wonder if that's bullshit. I wonder if, in fact, you just had that idea of yourself as a doer. If you were to say, describe what you call a doer without the word doer, without labels like a doer, if you were to describe your experience, would it still sound like a doer?
I don't know. The part of the reason I thought, or I kind of identified myself as a doer, was because of that propensity to attach. Like this whole thing just became the most important thing in my life. And so in the beginning, I just locked onto stuff really hard, and I guess it's gotten a little bit each time. I like every little technique turns into a minor attachment.
Yeah, yeah.
And I go through the technique. Probably everybody probably does this, but like I become attached to the technique because I'm like, this looks like it's going to create change. I don't know. And
So look, so explain to me how you do this rather than it just happens. What's the difference?
I don't believe it. I do it. I believe that like it. I I I think it's like the resistance and the efforting are both like, when if I feel that, I feel like I'm doing, I guess.
Right, right. So is the doer a good person? I mean, would your dad pat you on the shoulder and say you're a good doer?
I've felt that. I've been selfing. I've been in the middle of a selfing and knowing that it's because I'm trying to add value. It's a common diversion for
Mm.
that
So
illusion, I guess.
what's somebody who's not a doer? Are they just a lazy bastard?
Maybe doership. No, they're not. They're not lazy. Maybe doership to me is just, even just the ability to make a decision is almost like you have doership. Like it's
Mm.
doership. Am I making sense? I feel like I'm not making sense.
Yeah, you are making sense. I get it.
Scott,
Yeah.
I'm curious. Do you have, or what expectations do you have behind, you know, diving into this concept of doership? Like what is the end goal of kind of completely grasping that?
I'm not sure how to go. The topic concept came in front of me, and I don't know if it's habit or just a natural thing. I just thought this would be something I'd like to look at because maybe I don't feel like a doer. I don't know. I guess I thought I felt like a doer, and I felt like this would be a good, topic to investigate. And having the bot right there, it's great because I could just, I don't do it all the time. Like I got up this morning or yesterday morning, I God, I don't know how that thought came to my mind. I realized, oh, wait a minute, that's just a thought. Like it doesn't really affect me. And then I had the bot, so I just started a little bit of inquiry and went to the gym. And in between, in between my stations, I was talking to the bot while I let my heart rate come back down again.
To me, it kind of sounds like there is just doubt that you have resolved the doership concept.
Yeah, I think that's right on, but there's doubt everywhere. Like there's little tiny pockets of doubt everywhere. And when they come up, I just like, oh, there's doubt. Sometimes they get by and I don't recognize them. But
Yeah. Yeah, because at least in my perspective, this concept of doership, it's not about walking around feeling like you're not a doer, but it's more about recognizing that your actions, um, like you couldn't have done anything differently than what you have done. So you're relieved of, you know, shame and blame and all of that stuff. That's where the gold is in the concept of doership for me. After that, you just go about your life doing. It's not about reaching a goal, not feeling like you're doing something. At least that's how I see it.
I guess that's right. I guess I do have a goal to like I look at I observe myself and myself or whatever. I observe and I say, "Oh, that you felt just like you always did, like you're a doer." Like I guess you haven't I guess you haven't fully, shed that illusion, Yeah, I guess
And
that's
that is
pretty
just a
much
thought after that you're laying on top of whatever you did. So you did
right.
something, and then there's a thought, the doubt, so to speak, that crept up.
So how about this one, Scott? What if you're there? This is it. Nowhere else to go. You want to call this awakening or enlightenment or whatever you want to call it? That's it. The way you're experienced now, it's pretty mundane and ordinary, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you keep talking like, oh no, I'm not there yet. I've got more work to do. I've got to. Yeah.
Yeah. Doubt.
So it's not doubt that there's no little person in there running the show. It's not doubt that there is a self or not a self in actuality. It's doubt whether or not you're awake or not awake. Is that right?
Or fully awake.
Fully, yes, there you go, fully. So you might be partially awake, but not fully awake.
I guess like I guess don't know. It's like doubt is for me, doubt is strange because it just layers of it. Like I can peel a layer of it off, and there's just so many layers, and it's not that easy to see sometimes. Too close, I guess.
Let's look at what's often underneath doubt.
Fear?
How I've Well, yes,
I'm sorry.
but
I didn't.
what are you fearing, right? Are you fearing, or let me ask you a more direct question. If your current experience is fully awakened, there's no more than this. There's no better than what you're experiencing right now. What does that bring up for you?
I do notice a contraction in the lower abdomen area when you said that. Mild, but it's there. And but cognitively, I think about it. I'm like, I'm fine because I guess partly because I I can look in the um, very recent past and remember a lot more pain than I feel.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's very common to kind of, even though we kind of see this after kind of having this initial shift and feeling content with that, it's easy for some doubt to creep up when when the contentment of the messiness that is awakening kind of starts to loosen a little bit. So we have all these expectations before awakening of how magical this can be, and I think a lot of that stuff, just speaking for myself, a lot of that stuff stuck around and perhaps still is sticking around without me noticing it still. So this doership thing is, or the doubt thing around doership, it might be fruitful to just question if you're okay with there being nothing more than what you're experiencing right now. Really going deeper into that, and why it kind of triggers a contraction in the belly, which usually is connected to fear.
Mm. Doubt, like, is kind of seems like it's kind of fueled by the less than, um, the not enough.
That's the key,
The
isn't it? That
Mhm.
is the key. That not enough.
Yeah,
Will there ever be enough?
good question.
So
I don't
when you
know.
said you contracted in the lower abdomen, that got my attention. I'm wondering about that contraction. That's your portal into what's going on for you. Does that lead you to some idea of not enough?
So, yeah, so far, pretty much every time I've been fairly when I've gotten deep into something, it almost always seems to end up there. Like it just seems like that is the anchor for all the doubt, or it may be doubt
You,
itself. I don't know. But
yeah, you keep talking about doubt like it's a thing, but you've already told me in the past that that's only thoughts.
it's just a thought. Yeah.
Yeah. So if let's put it another way, if this thing called being awake is a perspective that means that the way we interpret the world, what comes into us as the world, but there is no perfect angle. There is what there is constant upgrading, changing, experimenting, exploring constantly, forever. That will never stop. And there'll be forever new discoveries. So there's no point. There's no line to cross that says, okay, I'm here, I'm there, that's it. It's right. And so consequently, we can look back at the way we were and the way we are, and we can go, well, that whole idea of waking up was just total bullshit. It just doesn't exist as a thing. It means something as a seeker to aim for, but we don't know. We only imagine what it is we're aiming for because we've got no idea, because it's not part of our experience what we're aiming for. But we have fantasies. Right? But once we get there and we realise that that fantasy was just total crap, and you're looking back at your life now and you go, it's pretty ordinary. Stuff still happens. Right? So don't call it doubt. That's a label for special people who've just moved from being a seeker to having had a shift. They're the only ones that can use the word doubt like this. But you're not special. You're ordinary. You're just the way everybody is. So this waking up thing is, you're never going to get it because it doesn't exist.
Right.
But if you get that, your experience now will become different because you'll have shifted your perspective. And so instead of having these tussles, these wrestling matches with this thing called doubt, it just won't happen anymore. You'll just go, oh, there's that. Oh, isn't that curious? And it'll be gone or shifted or still there. Who knows? But it's just part of everyday life. And that's what it is for you now. And that's what it is after you wake up. It's everyday life. You haven't got 120 meters left to crawl before you get there.
Also, just to add something on what you said, Vince, which I think is or could be fruitful to point out is, yes, there is a lifetime of new discoveries. But can you discover those discoveries without looking for them?
Well, yeah. Are you asking me?
Yes.
Asking Scott? Ask Scott.
I'm
Yeah.
asking
Yeah,
Scott.
you can, and I know that because it hasn't just recently. Like I decided to like look at the rest of the feathers, and then I got done. I was kind of planning to go back and just leisurely go through them again, and I just did not feel drawn to do it. So I haven't been doing anything, and stuff starts coming up and then I realize like seeking itself is a diversion, like like
Mm,
like as I consume this stuff, it occupies my mind for that particular period of time. It doesn't allow it to do its own processing, and I can see it's
mm,
just like a block. So I'm like, well, I guess that's done or close to it.
mm.
But
Beautiful.
and then the whole thing about the doership, part of that, like I did question, could this just be a diversion? Like, could this just be, oh, maybe doubt itself, maybe whatever doubt is, partly diversion, like, or the ego just picking up something it knows will get your attention or get my attention. You know?
Well, I guess you know, so this is, we're really on the razor's edge here. So this is my perspective on this. Calling something doubt can in itself be selfing. It's like calling selfing can in itself be selfing, right? So it's just kind of recognizing, as you know, if that happens, if it happens that doubt is recognized, then that is what happens. But if we're kind of hunting for doubt, then it kind of starts to move as a selfing mechanism or a doing, right?
Yes, agree.
And another thing that I've been thinking about lately, just for my own investigations, is that even though I even though I knew or thought I knew, really saw through that, awakening isn't, everybody experiences awakening differently because there is no awakening.
Right.
But at some subtle level, there was still some kind of comparison going on here, trying to match up what I'm experiencing in other people's experience when I was listening to them. So I'm like, yeah, that totally relates to my experience. But what's actually happening is that the mind is kind of trying to fit something that I'm hearing, that the mind is interpreting back into my own story. I have no idea what they're actually saying or what they actually mean, but it's kind of creating this subtle expectation of what is to come. And if we're not really, or if if this is not apparent to us, that can kind of subtly become selfing again. I don't know if that was a bit too complicated, but it was, it's super sneaky, and I find that this is like, increasingly subtle stuff that is being seen. But it's just being seen. It just comes up in dialogue with others.
Does that make sense to you, Scott?
Kind of. I was just thinking that when you get into this complicated stuff, it invites me to go, see, I don't have everything. I need bingo, gotcha.
Yeah, maybe yeah.
No, I'm not. That was
No,
good.
but that's a good point, Scott. You're making a good point, actually.
Like, I think I'm just gonna. I don't really want to watch and try to check to see if I'm selfing all the time. Like, I'm
Yeah.
kind of tired of
Okay.
doing all that work. Like, I just almost feel like just not dropping it, but just
So here's a
just let
brilliant
it.
segue, Scott. You've just given me a really brilliant segue into something I was going to ask you before, something that you said. If you're there and you don't need to watch any more videos, you don't need to read anything else, you don't need to go hunting for anything, you don't need to use the bot, right? Need is the operative word with all of that, okay? That in fact those things kind of bore you. What are you going to do? What's your purpose in life?
I don't know, because this is, or
This
at
is
least
your
it has
purpose
been.
at the moment, and yeah. So what happens when that's no longer requires any doership? Oh, I shouldn't have put it that way, but you know what I mean,
I
right?
know
When you,
exactly what you mean.
yeah,
I've thought about this for a few microseconds because it's scary. I'm like, because I've thought about it, like, what would I do if I stopped thinking about it at all? Like, if I just like,
yeah. You
what
know
would I
what? Let me
do?
tell you something. You'll be too busy to worry about it,
Well,
right? And you won't be busy with goals in mind. You won't be busy with projects. You'll be busy living. You'll be busy in this moment all the time, absolutely flat out. There won't be room for anything else. I know that might sound a bit weird to you, but that's my experience.
cool.
No time to be bored. God, life is going on. Good heavens, how can I be bored? And I wonder if, and the reason that I brought that up was because I wonder if, in fact, that is a big issue for you. If the idea of having no project to work on does feel a bit scary for you.
It does. There's no doubt.
But the only way you're going to discover that that is not right is to experience it. And you know what? It's not something you can do to experience that. It's something you will discover. So one day you're going to find yourself and you're going to go, you know what? I haven't even thought about this shit for the last half a day and it's been good. What? And then somebody will say, well, what have you done? And you'll go, oh, oh, I don't know, but I was busy doing it. That's the way it is for me.
That's
I'm
how it
still
is for
there.
you, Vince.
Sorry?
Just back to my point about this being different for everyone. So that's how it is for you. It's not like
Yes,
something
yes, yeah.
that it has to be for Scott.
No, that's right. That's right. I'm just opening possibilities of, and his
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
variation of that will be, of course, his variation. Yeah.
But that's the unknown that that you're kind of standing at the threshold of right now. What would happen if you totally let go of this spiritual stuff or whatever you want to call it?
I really don't know, because I entered at this point in my life, I entered into it out of panic. I knew it was there from years ago, and then when I retired, there was so much spare time, I started to panic, and
Mhm.
that's how I ended up back here.
So there is the possibility that the threat of that still exists.
I don't think I don't think that there is anything to fear, but yet I fear it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm,
I just I just feel so confident in my I just feel so much calmer, and just I don't even know how to describe it. I just feel confident that whatever happens is going to be easily handled by me, but or easily handled, but I still fear it for some reason.
mm.
It's like there's, you know what I
So
mean?
what if you reframe that from whatever happens is going to be okay, that I'll handle it, to what is happening is what word comes to mind?
All right, let me try that. So six. I have you. Hold on. I'm gonna read it.
What is happening now? Not whatever is going to happen, but what is happening now is
You want me to spontaneously respond to that, and nothing's coming up. Let me see.
no. Don't go looking for it. If it doesn't come up,
It's not,
it doesn't come up. That's it. Yeah. Okay.
life is happening. So
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So, but my point was, if we reframe things from future oriented back to present, it does change our perspective as well.
yeah.
So you might say, what is happening right now is nothing. Doesn't feel, nothing jumps out. There is no outstanding impressions about what's going on right now. That might be what you're saying. That might be accurate.
But at the same time, everything's happening. Like,
I think that the fact that Scott did not had an something to say after this sentence, because this sentence is full as is by itself. Like what is
Yeah, good thought. Yeah.
nothing else needed. It is as it is always. This is why it different for everyone, but in the same time it's the same
it's
because it's
amazing.
always is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not so important what is the stuff happening. It's
Mm.
just so the fact it's not enough is enough by itself. It's just the moment that we stop, like we don't stop in some uh, perfect moment that now we can stop. It's just here, like
Something came up, Scott, when you said you feel confident that with your calmness, you could handle whatever would come up if you stop doing this, and yet at the same time you fear it. Um, could that would it be accurate to say that, you know, even though there is a confidence in that, there is still the question of it being otherwise? So there's a subtle doubt there that, yes, I do feel confident, but there is a small subtle doubt that says, but it might not be, or I might not be.
You know, it comes from not being able to visualize the future.
Yes, the unknown.
Yeah.
It's a huge one for for all of us, if we're really honest with ourselves, that is the biggest fear. That is where most of us fear death as well. It's not the death itself is scary, it's the unknown part about death.
Seems like that's what drives me to try to visualize, oh, what's it, in the past, like what's it like to be awake, or what is it like to be awake for this person, or you know that's what drives those desire, those you want to create an image so that you can try to move towards it, like
Yeah.
staying grabbing onto everything.
In a way, you're facing the unknown every moment, but you're not doing it consciously. So every moment you don't know what's going to happen the next moment. And you have proof of that. Just observing your whole life, you see that it's ultimately it's okay. But still, that doubt creeps in. So maybe just sit with that, sit with what unknown means to you, how it feels.
I wonder if that's why I like the bot so much. It like when I am querying the unknown, the bot just engages with me and gives me all kinds of stuff to think about.
Mm. It transforms the unknown to the known, or the illusion, at least.
I I'm really enjoying the letting go part of it, and I I see it's a process, and I think I'm going to continue. That seems like the way to move it, to just allow that to happen. Just try to let go a little bit more each time, or just let go and then let go again if I have to.
Yeah, I'd love to teach you. I'd love you to get a hold of the value of reframing. That I guess it's just where a lot of the things you say, I want to reframe them. And if you did reframe them, it is a way of looking at them from a slightly different perspective. So of course, all of these things we're talking about, there is no right or wrong in that. We talk about that would be better than that, but it's obviously a story, and it's not an invitation to start doing again those things. So the trick is recognize that meaning and purpose are always made up. So consequently, nothing matters. So consequently, everything is fine, okay, or not. It just is what it is. So don't not do something. That's the same as doing something. But when I say don't not do something, I'm not giving you a job to do. I'm just saying, watch it, see what happens. So if doing happens, or something you might describe as doing happens, reframe it, right? So the language will say, oh yeah, I'm doing that. But if you reframe it into, oh, that happened, and then you ask yourself, which one feels more accurate? So there is a transition underneath that goes from I did it to happening. Not even it happening, just happening. And that comes and goes. We can be more in that or less in that, depending on all sorts of things. So there is no fixed thing. We can never say I am ... because you'd have to freeze frame everything in order to do that. And we can't freeze frame things because we're in constant movement, constant evolution, constant change. Nothing is ever still.
And there's no endpoint, but yet that somehow brings in time.
Hmm.
Scott, have you ever, you know, thought about something, some concept, something you've experienced so hard that you've kind of realized that no matter how you think about something, it will always kind of just loop itself back to, you know, all thinking is it's just overlay. Like it, you can start from one end and then you can go to another, but you can also then suddenly find another viewpoint and you can start from there. Like it's at some point, at least this is how it is for me. At some point, I just reached this point where unknown, where I just don't need to know anything, where I'm just out of my mind because I know that all of that just leads nowhere. Because as Vince just said, everything is as it is. Everything that is happening is happening. Everything that you do or not do, you do or not do. That's the mind's end. It can't. There isn't. Well, there. I was gonna say that's the mind's end, but the end of the mind is that there is no end. Other than to just stop.
Stopping sounds good.
Yeah. It is good.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. So I think that's the direction to lean.
And you said it before, you said that, I'm kind of just getting tired of all of this. You're just inclined not to do it anymore. And I think that's your intuition speaking to you.
Cool.
And I shared that, by the way, because I went on a rabbit hole chase yesterday where this was very relevant for me.
Yeah, all that stuff's just going to happen.
Yeah.
Rabbit holes, no rabbit holes. Time, no
Yeah.
time. Cool. Don't have to do shit anymore. I'm done. See you guys.
That happens. It happens. Some people wake up and just drift off and enjoy the rest of life. Never mention
Really?
it again, never seek again, but just enjoy everything from that new perspective, yeah?
I couldn't imagine that. This feels like home to me, or at least the meetings do. Like,
Yep.
But isn't that the connections rather than the whatever we're doing in the meetings? We're just
yeah, yeah, yes.
at least that's how it is for me.
So I want to point out one more thing, Scott, to drive home a point that was made earlier. That, if you don't believe me, but did you hear Marius say that yesterday he found himself exploring the bottom of a rabbit hole?
I sure did. Yeah.
Yeah. That stuff never ends until it does, if it does. I have no idea whether it does. But there it is. We're all doing it. It's exactly the same shit you're doing. What's the difference? But there's a difference in the well, I just imagine this, I don't know. There's a difference in the sound of my voice, or the sound that Marius, when he talks, he sounds confident. He sounds at home. He sounds relaxed. There is no doubt floating around in his world. It's just stuff to be explored if it shows itself. That's the way it is for me. Of course, we've got our own versions of that, but that's essentially that. So there's probably the main difference between you and me. It's just the way we sound. Or is that a result of some, in the old world, we would have called it confidence or something. What is it? I'm really confident that I don't know anything, and I'm also confident that I don't need to know. If I need to know, I'll know. I'll find out. But I'm confident about that. It's not a question. There's no inadequacy in it.
In my experience, that kind of built over time, the doubt thing going, like the confidence that you're talking about, just banging my head enough times against doubt that it just
Got a good
I got
image
bored of
there.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you can see the holes in the wall behind Scott there.
Yeah.
So for me, just to drive it home, for me, the doubts always led to that point that I just made. That it just it can loop forever, and nothing is right, nothing is wrong, everything is. Just stop there. That's the
Here,
invitation.
here,
Yeah.
here, right here. I'll stop here. Sounds good.
But stopping's not like a freeze point, a freeze frame. Stopping is like sitting quietly in the boat floating down the river. You're moving, but you're not putting any effort into it. You're not steering it. You're not doing anything. You're just sitting in the boat meditating, and it feels still. That's the kind of stopping he's talking about, not some foot nail to the floor kind of stillness. What about you, Ramez? Have you felt that kind of stillness ever?
Sometimes.
Does it feel like home for you? Does it feel like it's a natural, welcoming, belonging place?
Um, Sometimes and sometimes not.
Well, if we go the opposite to that, where I guess you might say there is, well, what would be the opposite? Agitation or anxiety or unpleasantness, unpleasant sensations. Does that feel like it doesn't belong, like it's alien?
I noticed that there is a feeling I notice that happens usually when I'm in a new place. And it's it's a weird feeling because it's partially feels excited, but also unfamiliar. Like I'm in a I can't expect what will happen, and it's fresh, and there is a sense of exploration, but it's also a sense of unease.
Unsafe, would you
Like
say?
not necessarily, but yeah, you could say without protection, like raw, sensitive.
Is there an inclination to avoid that?
No,
So it's okay. It's the explorer in you is happy or contented or satisfied or something to feel that unfamiliarity and that whatever it is. Is there curiosity in that place?
yeah. Then there's uh, a feeling of being present.
Would that go as far as to say you're vigilant?
Not all the time. Uh, Often not.
So where does that feeling of anxiety that you've mentioned fit into that? Is that absent in this place or is it still there?
It depends about what's happening.
Mm, yeah. So has that been more or less present lately?
More.
Okay. What do I laugh at? Yeah, my hopes were dashed. Yeah. So you said that depends on circumstances, how much that's there, and it's been there more lately. Can you identify the circumstances that seem to provoke that?
Things are getting more and more uncertain. And there's a lot of changings happening around me and within me. That's can sometimes be happening too fast.
Mm,
Feeling having no direction or no orientation and just and for some reason also I'm doing more like meditation on death for some reason.
do you think that's significant?
It's intense.
So when you're saying you're meditating on it, what aspect of it is your focus, your prime focus? Death in general, your death of somebody you know.
Mine,
Mine, yeah,
my death.
yeah. Could you say that there's an intention with doing that? What is it? What is it that you hope to gain from doing that?
To die.
Okay, so there's an attraction for you to not be here.
No, I'm terrified of not being here.
The opposite, right? So is your meditation then, is the intention of your meditation to feel more comfortable about your own death?
Yeah.
Is your focus on being dead or on dying, the act of dying or the period of dying?
I have no idea. I'm sick of being scared of it.
Hmm. So, but you're not sure what you're scared of. You're not scared of
No.
not being here. You're not sure if you're scared of suffering as you die. You just it's all what a big uncertain, fuzzy, ill-defined something with a label death that you're meditating on?
Recently, a few days ago, I was just laying down and I don't remember what I was doing. I was just maybe doing meditation or something. And I fell asleep, and I don't know if I fell asleep. I don't know what happened, but I noticed, or I woke up somehow, and there was a few moments of like remembering like this me or whatever this is. And something felt fragile about whatever reality is. It it's so weird. I can't explain it. It's
Mm. So what do you remember the feeling you had about that idea
it
of
was
reality?
fear.
It was fear, yeah. Would you go as far as to say the fear was provoked by the uncertainty or ill, whatever it was, you know, this idea that reality is not clear, that what it is. Was the fear associated with that?
It was fear mixed with sadness.
What comes to mind if I ask you what would banish the sadness?
What would do what?
Banish the sadness. What would take the sadness out of it? What would need to be different for there to be no sadness?
I guess making reality to be real. Like I want to, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I don't like your chances of making reality real. If you investigate it or start looking at it, it only gets less real. The only way it can be real is to keep away from it.
I, I can't follow.
Well, the closer you get to this idea of reality, the more you investigate the idea of reality, the less tangible it becomes. And
Yeah, I guess
eventually it disappears. There is no reality.
I'm just hanging on or fighting for reality to be real, even though
Yeah,
it's slipping away.
yeah. All right. So what aspect of reality? I mean, it's a tangible halfway point to say the only reality that exists is what you experience. And if we stop there, then that's a tangible reality. It's not an objective reality out there. It is your interpretation of your experience of what's out there, which is unknown, even unknowable. But that's a fairly tangible thing that you can anchor to if you want your experience. If you don't go too much further than that, if you know, and the next step after that is to recognize that your experience is an interpretation which is shaped by your conditioning and your history, which is part of your conditioning, I guess, and even your DNA, you know, your sensory apparatus. Everybody has variations of that as well. So all of those things at a fine level create what your experience, which is the most tangible thing that you can have about what reality is. Or are you referring to some objective reality?
No, to my reality.
Mm.
It's it's also it's like remembering my childhood, the child I was, the life I lived. It feels distant now, but it you could say in a way that's also dead reality. The child me is dead. It doesn't exist. But
Oh,
it's not suffering because it doesn't exist anymore.
mm. Okay,
It's not,
okay.
but something about trying to keep reality as it is, maybe fear of a change or
Mm. We You have to take a picture and freeze frame for that to happen. But what if I said to you that the child that you say is dead is dead, that's true, but is also still alive because it's still in you, still active, let's put it that way. No, let's not say alive, but say still active, the effects of that child, your memory of that child, the way that child changed with experience, all of that has the result of that is you. So in that sense, that child is not dead. But I get it that it is the past and finished. But that's the picture of the child in an objective way. But the actuality is that it's still alive and kicking in you. If you buy that, can you rejoice that it's not dead? It's not gone?
But even that having these feelings or the memories of the past, they also fade away. They
Of course.
also,
Yeah. And even when we have them, even when they're not faded, they're a construct. And so they might be somewhat similar to the original, but they're not the same. But what is it that you mourn about that past you that's seemingly dead? What is it you miss?
nothing. But I don't know why it feels sad.
Mm. Do the feelings about it amount to more than just curiosity? Does it seem important to you in some way to know, to find out?
I don't feel like I'm trying to find out something.
You're okay with that?
It's maybe the question is, my mind keeps thinking about is like what dies.
I presume the focus, the emphasis is on the word what dies. But if you started with what dies and then look at the idea of dying before you come back to consider what died, it might be different. Could you say when it dies, what happens? It just disappears? It suffers? It suffers on the way to dying? Or it's just gone?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, but also the question of what remains.
Okay,
Does
so
anything remains?
yeah, that's right. Okay, so there's a question. So when we talk about dying and when we talk about what remains, we're talking about dying as something that's gone or going. And is it completely gone or going when we say, is there some remains? So it occurs to me that the thing itself can be completely gone, but the effects of it could remain. Like saying when somebody dies, they remain alive in our memory. So we're really talking about the effect of something.
I had a dream a few days ago that it made me aware of something I wasn't aware of. Um, and it I feel like that it's not possible to even speak about it without breaking down.
That's okay. Do you see that as healing?
It did help, but it feels right. There is a friend I had when I was a child, when I used to go to my grandparents' home. There was this kid I used to play with, and but like many years ago, I stopped going there, and we lost connection. And last year, I heard that he died. And at the time, I didn't feel anything, or I felt upset, but it didn't
Yeah.
touch me deeply. And last year, not last year, a few years ago, maybe 3 or 4, he wanted to speak to me about something, but I don't remember the situations exactly, but we didn't speak. And in this dream, it was like I went back in the past, where I used to go to his home and call his name, and I was doing this in the dream, and suddenly I realized that before I start calling him, I realized that he's dead. And uh, in the dream, I just broke down, and I feel guilt for not speaking to him.
I can only imagine. Do you know what the guilt was about that you felt? Was it that you didn't speak to him? Do you think that that was somehow involved in his death?
No,
No. So it really your sadness is about the missed under, opportunity to talk to him, and it's, of course it can't be undone. That one. Would that be what your sadness is about?
Yeah.
Do you think if you had have spoken to him that this sadness wouldn't be here, or it wouldn't have the same, you wouldn't be attached to the same reason for it? Is it really unattached sadness about something?
No, I, I, I assume the opposite, that if I spoke to him, maybe I would have felt even more sad.
Can you recognize that sadness is incredibly healing?
What do you mean by healing?
It releases contraction, it releases tension. It's an expression of something deep down inside you. So what your dream revealed to you was something that you hadn't maybe allowed yourself to feel, or just hadn't felt, but your dream revealed that you do feel it.
Yeah, I suppose I didn't have access to it
Mm.
somehow.
Does his death somehow figure in your death meditations?
Yeah, I feel like it's related. It's somewhat of a theme I have, I suppose. I don't know, I feel drawn to people who have died, and
Do you imagine that they have something to offer you in their experience or in the fact of their death?
I don't know.
But
Sometimes I feel that they're asking me of something.
mhm. Would it be accurate to say that you feel closer to them than you do to people who are alive?
Um, I don't know.
No, that's fine. Yeah, that's good.
I also had a dream about my gram, but this time he was so happy and so excited to see me. He was inviting me into the home, and I don't even remember him being like that ever.
Mm. But he wasn't inviting you into his death home, was he? He was inviting you into the home in the dream.
Yeah, and the home, there was also my grandma and other people.
So in your dream, he was happier, more outgoing.
Yeah, he was very light.
So even though he was dead, he is dead. The dream was all about, very much about him being alive, very alive.
Yeah.
Mm. You're discovering a lot these days, aren't you? A lot goes on
I
for you.
need, I need a rest. It's too much.
It's a shame we don't control that. Hey? Yeah. Like someone just once said, I don't know where it comes from, but probably a religious origin, but maybe. But someone said something like, God, or if you like, life, never offers you more than you're capable of handling. So even though it feels like too much, you're obviously you can handle it, or you wouldn't be feeling it.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, that feels true.
Mm. But that doesn't deny the intensity of what it is that you're feeling. That's pretty big. Yeah. Yeah. You're very much the explorer these days, aren't you? Very much in that discovering all sorts of things about yourself. And I guess we all are, aren't we? But yeah, but yours is pretty intense. Mm. All to call it quits. Go and have some tea. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Vince. Thanks,
Thank
Marius.
you.
Thank you, Ramis.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
And Tom, bye.
Bye, Scott.
Bye, Scott.